In many ways, Jacobs was as much a functionalist as Le Corbusier and other modern architects, possibly more so, because she was not overly concerned with aesthetics. Indeed, while Jacobs first described her idea for the book that became Death and Life as a study of the relation of function to design in larger cities, it was in New York's working districts that she first came to understand how diverse city uses and users give each other close-grained and lively support, as she later described the phenomenon. And as Le Corbusier charged architects to see again, Jacobs would do the same. She wrote in Death and Life, "To see complex systems of functional order as order, and not as chaos, takes understanding," and she learned this early in her New York experience. Looking down from the roof of her apartment in Greenwich Village, she watched the garbage trucks on their rounds and thought, what a complicated, great place this is, and all these pieces of it that make it work. Even garbage collection, no small task in the great city, made her think about how the city functioned at its most basic levels. In writing about the no-man's land between the skyscrapers of Wall Street and Rockefeller Center, Jacobs sought to reveal to her readers how the everyday pedestrian city worked and evolved. Although the premise went unstated, her essays on Manhattan's fur, leather, diamond, and flower districts, published between late 1935 and early 1937, when Jacobs was 19 and 20, were written to offer Vogue's uptown readers some insight into the material histories of their prized possessions, the invisible processes and networks that preceded their consumption. In the first, Where the Fur Flies, published in November 1935, Jacobs described how furs followed a rough-and-tumble journey from trapper to fur farmer, auctioneer to dresser, dealer to manufacturer to retailer. In Leather Shocking Tales, published in March 1936, she explained that cowhide used for shoes went through a process that left nothing to waste. It first had the soles stamped and cut from it. From the remaining network of scraps, heels were cut, then shoe tips, and finally washers for plumbing and buttons were produced. What is left went off to fertilizer factories. Diamonds in the Tough, published in October 1936, revealed that most of the sparkling jewelry sold in the tough and squalid diamond district was not new, but sold by pawnbrokers after the 13 months stipulated by law had elapsed from the time it was pawned. Lastly, in Flowers Come to Town, published in February 1937, Jacobs told the story of how flowers traveled by truck, boat, and plane to get to New York. Most, she explained, came by truck from Long Island, Connecticut, and New Jersey, but those from Florida, California, and Canada came by express train, and those from South America and Holland by ship. Occasionally a shipment of gardenias was flown in from California by airplane, while other flowers left the city again by ocean liners and airships. All the large passenger liners are supplied from the New York market, and on her eastward trips, the Hindenburg II carries flowers from 28th Street. Attentive to the networks of productivity and geography, Jacobs revealed the bouquet on the Vogue reader's windowsill as more than a pretty arrangement. It was emblematic of the city's station in international commerce. Though not native to the city, all of these goods, furs, leathers, diamonds, and flowers, were city products of the city's networks of process and exchange. Having recently experienced living in a subsistence economy, Jacobs understood the significance of the city economies, the tremendous physical and social infrastructure that brought raw materials to market. Indeed, she already had some latent understanding about the relationship of city and rural economies. As she wrote years later in The Economy of Cities, "When we see a factory out in the country, we do not automatically assume that the kind of work being done in the factory originated and developed in the country." Such observations were, intellectually speaking, not far out of reach of the young Jacobs. Her interests in economic geography, explored in courses at Columbia University not long after writing these essays, were already well established within her first few years in New York. Jacobs was not interested only in the productivity of the city's working districts. Her vignettes of the city also described the complex interactions between people, places, and practices that defined the diverse and lively human ecology of New York and other great cities.
To keep listening to this audiobook for free, click the link in the description. It will take you to a free Audible trial where you can listen to this and many other books for free for 30 days.